Hello there VC and Tammy, also known as the Music Beauty Life. This is a response to your tag thread about its music, and I'm going to do my best to answer your 9 questions. Found them very interesting. And first of all, congratulations on your birthday yesterday. I hope you had a really nice birthday party. Uh, you're born 76 and you're 2 years younger than I am. So now everybody can start figure out how old I am. But I have not celebrated my 40th birthday yet. Enough talking about me, and I'm going to go to my answers. Number 1, favorite band and musicians at the moment. It's a hard question because when I listen to a band very much, I don't put that band to rest that easily. But I have one band that I like very much right now when it comes to newer band. I hardly listen to new music nowadays, but there is one band that I like very, very much, and I listen very much to right now among new bands, and that is a band from Scotland called JörgenS. They have a little special spelling. They spell CHV or CHES. I think that the reason why they're having a V instead of a U is that they want some kind of Roman spelling. But anyway, it's a good band, synth electro band. They have a singer named Laura Mayberry that has a very cute voice, but at the same time it's a little edgy, and I like them very much because they have synth music with sounds a little 80s, but at the same time they have a fresh production that sounds very modern, very danceable, and I like them very, very much. Interesting lyrics, and I can recommend songs like Gun and Recover, and great band, Churches. I listened to them very much for the past year, actually. One band that you always come back to. Well, as I said, most of my bands are bands that I come back to because I don't lay bands that I listen much to aside that very long. But I have one favorite band, and those of you who have seen my videos knows that a band that I return to most of all is, of course, Depeche Mode. Is my absolute favorite band. I have loved them ever since I heard them the first time in 1985, and I don't think I ever heard a bad Depeche Mode song. I heard songs that have been good songs and many songs that have been awesome, but I never heard a really bad Depeche Mode song. I'm not going to talk that much about Depeche Mode because I promised I'm going to do a video later on where I show my Depeche Mode collection. But my answer on number 2 is Depeche Mode, even though there are many bands, of course, that I always come back to. Favorite movie soundtrack was a very interesting question. I collect James Bond soundtracks, and there are also many great 80s soundtracks that I like. I like the Top Gun soundtrack very much, even though I think the films totally sucked. I think that the soundtrack is awesome. But my pick of choice is actually not an unusual one, but I love it very, very much nonetheless, and it's this one, the soundtrack to Star Wars by John Williams. And I like it very, very much because it's very beautiful and unpredictable at the same time. Uh, if you haven't seen the movie but hear the soundtrack, uh, you never know where it's going to end. Actually, it's like an adventure in music that's it's very exciting and very special, and it's an awesome soundtrack, awesome movie music, and it's definitely a classic. Uh, Definitely one of my absolute favorite soundtrack albums ever. What is your favorite songs of all time? Uh, I have done many charts through my life about my favorite songs. It was a very long time since I did the last chart, and I think it's a little bit outdated by now. But there are many songs that I want to have on that chart all the time, and that's been following me ever through all of my life. And I have 3 songs that definitely will be in the top when or if I ever do another best of songs chart. First of all, I'm going to show a song that isn't all that good. It is mistake made by both me and the store that I bought it from. The store that I bought it from had a habit when they were selling out all singles and so on and records to put a sticker on that says that said sell out and then the logo type. And okay, I can and maybe it works with some sleeves, but not if there are paper sleeves. And during the early 90s until the mid 90s, I wasn't all that much of a record collector as I am today, and for some very stupid reason, I decided to, on my CDs, put a sticker with my name and my address at the time. And today I wonder, what the hell was I thinking about? Okay, it works with the normal CD covers because they're easy to wash away, but not on paper, singles paper sleeves. I can't do anything without hurting the sleeve, so don't laugh when you see the sleeves. But I'm a huge fan of, always have been since that song was released, Mariah Carey's Without You. It's definitely one of my absolute favorite songs of all time. See, not too pretty sleeve. But I always loved that song. I definitely think it's the best version of it, even better than the most famous version before that with Nelson. I really love her passion when she sings it. She really gives everything she got. I always loved Mariah Carey's voice. She has a fantastic voice, and she really gives everything she got in this song, in this version. And also Walter Afanasiev's production is marvelous, soul ballad production, and it's definitely, I can listen to this song over and over again. I heard it 1 million times since it was released, and I never grows tired of it. I love this song very, very much. Number 2 is a song that it's very interesting coincidence that your favorite band at the moment, Tammy, is Tears for Fears, because it's also one of my favorite bands of all time. I showed Tears for Fears in my previous clip when I showed the 80s pop music, and in that clip also I mentioned this song as one of my favorites. So here we go again. One of my absolute favorite songs is Tears for Fears, Sowing the Seeds of Love, from the marvelous album the Seeds of Love. And as I said in that clip, it is a song also that is totally unpredictable. You never know, if you haven't heard a song before and you hear it for the first time, you never know where this song is going to end. You never know where the next tone, how it's going to sound like. It's a fantastic creation, a fantastic song, definitely. And it is, of course, critics to Britain's then Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, and definitely also a song I can listen to over and over again without getting tired of it. And the interesting thing with this single is that the sleeve is very special. As you can see, this actually is a form of a poster that is pretty easy to transform back into a sleeve again. And see if I can get the single back. So, easy. And the B-side of this single is also very interesting, because the B-side is a song called Tears Roll Down. And 3 years later, when Roland Orzabal, the singer of the band, had taken over the band on his own, he released a compilation, Greatest Hits collection, and the single from that collection was actually a song called Late Solo Tears Roll Down. It was the same song actually, but with a little more lyrics in it. So actually this song is both the B-side and later on a A-side. It's very kind of unusual actually. Number 3 is a band that aren't all too famous, or isn't all too familiar to many of you. It's a band that I discovered in 1988 when I watched MTV, and I heard a song called It's the First Time. And I immediately fell in love with that song. It was so beautiful. And it was with the Dutch soul pop group Louis Lane. This is not the single, of course. I don't have the single itself, unfortunately, yet. But this is the album that the song is on. It's the First Time. The album is called Fortune Fairy Tales, and the album itself is fantastic, filled with relaxing pop soul melodies. Really cool and sunny album. I really love this song. It's always been a favorite song of mine because it's so relaxing, it's so cool, and those girls on the sleeve, and none of them is named Louis Lane, it's just the name of the band. It's Susanne and Monique Kleeman. Susanne Kleeman is a marvelous, beautiful woman. But anyway, they sing so very well together. They have fantastic voices, and the production is so cool and so relaxing. Imagine yourself laying on the beach with looking at small waves on the ocean, and sun is shining, and you're listening on this song. This awesome feeling. So absolutely one of my absolute favorite songs. Next question. The most embarrassing song on your iTunes. I had to draw a blank there because I could also put together it with question number 6, because I don't use iTunes. I said that in a previous clip. I don't use Spotify either, because I want my music in physical form so I can listen to it whenever I want to and wherever I want to. Those are my listening habits. So question number 5 I had to draw a blank, but question number 6, top 3 play songs on your iTunes. I could transform it into top 3 songs that is played in my home, maybe right at the moment. And my top 3 favorite songs at the moment are these. First of all, a couple of months ago, I thought to myself that I was very interested in checking out how many versions of the classical 70s disco song Popcorn there was. And I checked it out, and I saw it was totally many versions of Popcorn, and I checked them out on YouTube and so to see which were the best one. And I've always been a huge fan of the 1987's Italo version with M&H Band. Well, Italo, M&H Band is a British guy, but he's sorted under Italo disco version. And I always loved this version, and I realized that the best version of Popcorn still is this one. And I started again to listen very much to M&H Band version of Popcorn, and still listen to it very much. I love this version. It's very danceable and very special comparing to most of the other versions. There are many 70s disco versions that sounds almost like Hot Butter's version, and also numerous versions in a trance style. But this is very special 80s version that I love very much and listen very much to at the moment. Number 2 is a band from Sweden. Gyllene Tider, Golden Times. This is not a single because this song I don't have on single, but it is the album that the song is on. This album is called Dags att tänka på refrängen. Gyllene Tider is Per Gessle from Roxette. It is the band that he started in and he became very famous in. They still gets together and does reunion albums and reunion shows every now and then. And the last one came last year, 2013. This album came. And there's a song on this album called Single. That is really catchy, really great beat in it, and definitely I like this album very much, but I also like the song Single very, very much, and I listen very much to it. Song number 3 I don't have in a physical form yet. I want to have it, but unfortunately it's very hard to find because it wasn't a hit here in Sweden at all. I actually never heard it until a year ago, but I've definitely loved it for the very beginning. I heard it, so I have listened to it very much on YouTube, and it is a song made by a Belgian group called Le Geoculture. It was a huge hit, a huge summer hit in 1993. From the beginning it is a Greek folk melody, I think, that became very famous in a new version in the 60s that this band has taken up and given it a kind of Eurodisco production. I really love this version because it's very catchy. I like very much strong melodies, and this is a song that when you hear it you can't get the tune out of your head. It's stuck there like glue, and I'm very weak for that kind of melodies every now and then. I think this one is very catchy, little cheesy, but still very funny song. The song is called Darla Dirla Dada. I've been viewing that video with that song over and over again very much for the past months, the past year actually. So those are the 3 most played songs in my home at the moment. The favorite concert I've attended. I haven't been on that many concerts with big artists, but many times those smaller places where they're playing concerts are just as awesome as the bigger one. And I think my favorite at the moment that I can think of right now is from 2009. I was in Stockholm, our capital, and at the time I was there in August, and at the time they have a culture festival where they have stages and scenes all over the city where they play different kind of music on, and I checked out the program and to see what it was, and on one stage at a square called Brunkebergstorg, a Finnish soul funk band called Tuomo, who actually is a one-man band, were playing there, and I thought to myself that, what is this? A Finnish soul funk band. I was seeing in my mind, seeing in front of me that they were singing in Finnish, and I was shaking my head, but I was very curious. I thought to myself, I'm going to go there and see that concert just for curiosity, and it was a marvelous concert. It was singing in English, but it was a fantastic concert. Tuomo plays soul funk music, style like Stevie Wonder in the 70s, like he did on Songs in the Key of Life album. They play like, it sounds very, very much like Jamiroquai, and sounds very British. and it was a fantastic concert. I think all of us in the audience on that square actually were wiggling our bodies and digging the music, and it was a fantastic concert. I think if you look on Tuomo in Stockholm, you can see a clip from that concert. There was someone who was filming and laying out on YouTube. The most underrated musician, in my opinion, and there are so many musicians, bands that are underrated. Uh, Sometimes most of my favorites that I listen to are bands that are underrated. But I have one favorite that I think is the most underrated, and I have shown him in my previous jazz clips, and it is a pianist named Lenny Tristano. Lenny Tristano was a blind pianist that played cool music, and he became in the deepest in many of the jazz critics loved him because he came with something new in his style. He he plays piano like no one else. He uses very much block chords, and he has a real special, unique style where he plays the melody in his own style. Sometimes you can't even hear the jazz melody because he's baked it into in his own style, and sometimes he walks away from the melody and comes back to it pretty soon again. It's fantastic playing style, but unfortunately the jazz fans didn't take him to their heart that much. He didn't become all that big in the when it came to selling and so on. He had too odd style, and you might say that he was pretty much before his time. And unfortunately, he never got he never claimed the fame that he deserved, and he quitted jazz. He quit playing soon enough in the late 50s and 60s, and became pretty bitter on the music industry and started to teach young jazz musicians, and then became a teacher, and died in the 70s pretty broke. A very sad ending for a marvelous musician that should have gotten the success that he deserved, actually. Final question, favorite quote or song lyric? That was maybe the toughest question because I like so much, I'm a very huge fan of Swedish pop lyrics, and I wondered if I was going to take a Swedish lyric and translate it, but I decided that I'm going to take a piece of lyric from a classic new wave and synth band from the 80s instead. This is a piece of lyric from a song by group Ultravox and their album Quartet, well, maybe one of the best-selling albums, and a song called Cut and Run. I don't know why I've fallen for this lyric, for this piece of lyric, but I definitely think it's very nice, very awesome, well made. It's really fantastic description in some form. I really love it, even though it's maybe a little depressive in the meaning of the lyrics. The lyric goes, "See the man on the phone with the gun in his hand, sipping courage from a crystal cup." Very depressing, but it's Ultravox managed to put the lyrics together so fantastic. So it's very, very well made, actually. So that is my favorite quote from a lyric, or should I say one of them. But then, of course, as I said, there are many Swedish quotes from lyrics that I love also very, very much. And by that, I hope, Tammy, that you are satisfied with my answers. And for the rest of the VC, I hope to see you also very soon in another clip that I've made just recently. So until next time, take care.